Today we're looking at the ultimate travel list. It's a list of 500 best places to see. You're watching part 3. So we've already done part 1 and 2 and covered the first 100 places on the list. So this is part 3. I'd recommend going back and watching the first 2, but you're welcome to join us. So let's open up the book where I last left us, which is here on page 100, or on item 100. And this also comes at an exciting time because I just passed 100 subscribers this week. I am so excited. I cannot believe that 100 of you have subscribed, are interested in what I'm doing. It's such a vote of confidence. So thank you so much to everyone who subscribed. It's really meaningful. So let's get in. Let's get into the list in number 100. And I am doing soft spoken for this video with a mix of some whispering. That's just because I've been a little sick lately and my sore throat makes my whispering a little too quiet. So we'll be alternating soft-spoken whispering today. So number 100 is the Okavango Delta in Botswana. It's a wonderful water world, they say. It's a delta that's very remote, but that the floodwaters attract really great animals to watch. Although they do say beware of the hippopotamus, which is very dangerous. Okay, if you're just joining me, when I've been to a place, if I have a photo of myself there, I include them in the book, so we'll talk about this a little bit. So, 101 is the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, and here's me on a bike at the Golden Gate Bridge. I believe I'm in the Golden Gate Bridge State Park right here. Just a cute little state park. I would not recommend walking across the bridge as it's pretty long and boring for that, but I did enjoy biking across it. I like the Golden Gate Bridge, so let's read a little bit about it. They wrote, "There was something elegant and visionary about the Art Deco design movement of the 1930s. And San Franciscans must be eternally grateful for their signature landmark." So 102 is Dashashwamedh Ghat. I'm definitely not saying that right. I'm going to mispronounce a lot in this. But this is in India. It's a holy city in the northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. Overnight trains run there from Delhi, and they recommend it as the holiest of holy sites. They say in the early hours of the morning, pilgrims come to perform puja, the act of worship, to the rising sun. At sunset, the main river worship ceremony takes place. They say it's a very moving place. 103 is Giant's Causeway in Ireland, in Northern Ireland, which I have been there. I went to Ireland almost a year ago on a trip. Loved it. And Giant's Causeway is like this very interesting geological anomaly. And I loved being there. It had a real eeriness to it. It's also just kind of magical seeming. Would definitely recommend if you're doing a trip to Ireland. It's like a little more than an hour outside Belfast. So I think worth hitting in like a trip, like in a day with going to Belfast and things. I'd also recommend not just going to the causeway, but like these cliffs all have like a ton of beautiful hikes. So I would definitely recommend, taking a good part of the day to hike around this area. It was very beautiful. And 104 is Auschwitz, the Holocaust Memorial in Poland, they recommend. 105 is Parque Nacional Corcovado in Costa Rica. So this is a jungle national park, and they say it has the country's best wildlife watching, most desolate beaches, and most vivid journeys. 106 is Niagara Falls, pictured here obviously. In Canada, let's see, they say Niagara might not be the tallest waterfall in the world, nor the widest, but it's undoubtedly the world's most well-known in terms of sheer volume. There's nothing like it. And they recommend viewing from the Canadian side. I've never been to Niagara Falls, but it does seem like an iconically American thing to go there. 107, Potala Palace in Tibet. It's this beautiful palace that they describe as palatial, poignant, and profound. Very beautiful. Okay, so 108 is Bora Bora in French Polynesia, which I do think it's everyone's dream to stay in a villa on Bora Bora. And I totally understand why, that's so beautiful. 109 is the Empire State Building, and the Empire State Building isn't in this photo. This is a photo from Central Park, but I just included it since it was part of a New York trip where I definitely saw the Empire State Building. Yeah, it's definitely an iconic building, and the viewing platform is fun to go up there and see the view from there. 110, Budapest thermal baths in Hungary. I've heard about these. I've heard about the baths, and I've heard they're really cool. So they say there are 15 thermal baths in Budapest, and many are male or female only on alternating days. I think going to Budapest and spending a trip trying out all the different thermal baths would be incredible. Okay, 111, Topkapi Palace in Turkey. It's a Ottoman palace. 112, Tallinn Old Square, medieval jewel of Estonia. Then 113, which is pictured here. Stary Most, a bridge in Bosnia-Herzegovina. It's a 16th century Ottoman bridge spanning the Neteva River. Very cool. And they say that you can watch the diving club jump into the river below, which would be fun. So 114, this is Ayutthaya, a crumbling complex in Thailand. It once had 400 temples, but in 1767 an invading Burmese army swept through. Today, more than a dozen restored ruins can be found. That sounds cool. They say it's an hour north of Bangkok. Oh, we have another couple photos. So, start this one. 115 is the Vatican Museum in Rome. And this is the staircase leading out of the museum. I happen to have a photo of myself going down those stairs, which is funny because it's a funny thing to have a photo of that matches perfectly. The Vatican Museum is pretty amazing. It has the Sistine Chapel in it. So it's definitely worth it for that alone, but it also has just tons of famous religious art and artifacts. They give the tip that it's wildly popular, buy tickets in advance, we made kind of a huge mistake, which is we went to the Vatican Museum and we didn't know it was like a Sunday where they gave like free entry. And so there was a huge line to get in and we had to wait in line for a really long time. But it was worth it. It was worth it to go. 116, Anica Beach in Easter Island, Chile. Such a beach on Easter Island. They recommend it for a guided hike along the dramatic northern coast. 117 is the Peak in Hong Kong, China. There's a funicular that will guide you up the mountain, and there's panoramic views. 118 is St. Paul's Cathedral in London, which there's me in front of the cathedral in London. Cute little baby me. I think I definitely thought I was serving a fit with these red shoes back in the day. This was in like the early 2010s, so this was a 2010s fit. But the cathedral, there's that bridge that kind of links St. Paul's Cathedral to the Tate Modern. That view, you can see that there. 119 is Meteora in Greece. And I think this is a monastery. Let's read a little bit about it. It says, a monk's life is not for everyone, yet if you're cutting yourself off from worldly temptations, it makes sense to do so somewhere where Mother Nature offers other consolations. So, the name of it translates to suspended in air or in the heavens above. Okay, 120 is the Confucius Temple in China. 121 is Copper Canyon in Mexico, which they recommend because it has its own railway. 122 is Cerro Fitzroy in Argentina, Patagonia's Peak of Fire. So it's a mountain, and they call it Peak of Fire, Smoking Mountain, because of the clouds that shroud the summit. And then 123 is Aiguille des Midi in France. And that's what's pictured over here. And it's this jagged rock cliffs amid all these glaciers. And it says it has 360-degree views of French, Swiss, and Italian Alps. They say that you need to bring warm clothes with you because even this summer the top is seldom warmer than negative 10 degrees Celsius. You can see the little climbers here. Seems really beautiful. That seems like it might be a hard climb. Okay, 124 is Briggen in Norway. They say it's an enchanting historic wharf community. That's photographed here. I think it would be so beautiful to visit Norway, but kind of exclusively in the summer. I would like to go to Norway in the summer where the days are really long. I don't think I'd want to go in the winter when it's dark and cold. Based on these people's clothes, I think this is the summer. 125 is Stewart Island in New Zealand. And this island is the home of the kiwi bird, which is the New Zealand national bird. I think they're endangered. Yeah, it says they're endangered. There's 20,000 of them on the island, though. Okay, 126, Durbar Square in Nepal. It's a beautiful time-warped museum. 127, Bazaruto Archipelago in Mozambique. They say aquatic beach Bonzana. Why can't I say that word right? I'm definitely saying that wrong. They recommend recommend it because the water is super blue, but there's also a ton of different aquatic species. They say divers and snorkelers explore rich coral reefs, observing dolphins, sea turtles, manta rays, some 2,000 variety of fish, and migrating humpback whales. 128 is Prissengracht Canal in Amsterdam, which there's the canal in the daytime, and I think I'm at a different part of the canal, but here's me there at night. They say it's the princely waterway pulsing with life, and I would agree, the canal's definitely pulsing with life. Their tip is that it can be experienced by boat, bicycle, or on foot. Here I was on foot. We also did bike along the canal, which I was really worried about because I didn't really understand like the rules of the roads there, right? They have different signs. I wasn't quite sure how the bike lane works. I was nervous, but once we started, it was super easy because there were so many people biking that you could just kind of follow along. Okay, 130, Bay of Islands, New Zealand. Let's read about this. It says, while New Zealand's coast has no shortage of handsome nooks and crannies, the Bay of Islands tops the lot for the sheltered anchorage, kind climate, and abundance of wildlife on and offshore. Pretty. 131, Pantanal in Brazil. It's a wildlife-rich wetland. So it says it's home to some 400 fish species, 1,000 odd bird species, and a list of animal residents, including the capybara, giant river otters, wolves, pumas, anteaters, armadillos, and the world's most flourishing jaguar population. 132 is the Great Buddha of Nara in Japan. So this is a giant bronze Buddha, and it's housed inside the largest wooden building in the world. Popular belief maintains those who can squeeze through the hole exactly the same size as one of the Great Buddha's nostrils are ensured of enlightenment. It's funny. Okay, 133. 133 is the National Museum of Anthropology in Mexico. It's Mexico's most visited museum, and it's in Mexico City's largest park. I've never been to Mexico City, but I would love to go to this museum if I went there. I love a beautiful museum. 134 is Skara Brae, a prehistoric village frozen in time in Scotland. I'm planning a trip to Scotland right now. I'm going soon. So let me read about this. It says, when the Pyramid of Giza were just a glint in the pharaoh's eye, and stones had yet to be cleaved from rock, the village of Skara Brae in Orkney was already a bustling Stone Age center. Buried in the coastal sand dunes for centuries until an 1850 storm exposed the houses underneath, the site is so well preserved it can feel as though the inhabitants have just slipped out to go fishing. So I'll have to look this up and see if I can fit it into my itinerary in Scotland, or if it's too far out of the way. We'll see. Okay, 135 is Gianderfjord. These Norway words are the hardest. So they recommend the ferry ride through this fjord, which, if I remember right, a fjord is where the river meets the sea, right? It's like kind of like a bay, more mountainous. Maybe I'm wrong, but this does look really beautiful, and that would be a beautiful ferry ride. I don't know if you can see, but that's a little boat right there. 136 is Tayrona National Park in Colombia. They recommend it for camping. You read a little bit. This could be the first time that you'll hire a horse to get to a campsite. Reaching the park gate is easy, but finding the ultimate beach, nestled in a curve of the Caribbean between the foothills of Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta and the Colombian coast, takes a lot more commitment. So they recommend it for camping. I've never been camping on a beach, but I feel like that would be really beautiful and fun. Okay, 137 is Choquequirao in Peru. It's an untrammeled Inca trail. So they say, imagine Machu Picchu with no crowds. However, they do say it's usually done in a 4-day hike run by Cusco tour agencies. They mention that the path is not always obvious, so it's better not to go alone. And then 138, which is pictured here, is Ephesus. I feel like I'm saying that wrong. I feel like I know what that should sound like if it's not Ephesus, but Ephesus. It's an ancient Greek city in Turkey, and the Temple of Artemis was the biggest ever built and became one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world there. So you can see the ruins of that. 139 is Kruger National Park in South Africa, which they say is a unique wildlife experience. They recommend it for the accessibility of being able to see wildlife. 140, which is pictured here, is Tulum in Mexico. Tulum Pueblo, the town that sprouted up around this magnificent confection of a ruin, isn't up to much, but when the main attraction is, well, this attractive, who cares? So it's the ruins here. 141 is Tezuki Market in Tokyo, Japan, and it is the biggest seafood market in the world, in the sushi capital of the world. I feel like I may have been here, but I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure. Maybe I just went to a fish market. I don't know if I went to the fish market. I'll have to look back up my itinerary. Okay, 142 is Sintra in Portugal. It is a stupendously silly castle of craziness. I had friends who went here and really loved it, I think. It says, if you're fond of castles, fairy tales, pastel colors, palaces, and abundance of trashiness on the top of a mountain, Sintra is your dream come true. So it's an eccentric, colorful castle, and it's a 30-minute train ride from Lisbon. 143 is Carcassonne Walled City, the fairy tale French castle. It's a medieval castle in France. 144 is the Statue of Liberty in Ellis Island, the US. So we're on the ferry coming back from the Statue of Liberty here. This was on a trip to New York City that was like very spontaneous. Like I think we were only in the city for like 48 hours. For the Statue of Liberty, I think it is really cool to see. I don't think it's really worth going to the island. And they kind of say something similar. They say you can view it for free from the Staten Island ferry. And that's what I would recommend, is just taking the Staten Island ferry around to view it. 145 is Vatnajökull. Oh, I definitely can't say this Icelandic word. Vatnajökull National Park in Iceland. It says, if your inner explorer has ever dreamt of conquering the Arctic, you'll love this place. A mega park of glacial ice and volcanic landscapes set up to protect the world's largest ice cap. Very cool. 146 is the Blue Mosque, Istanbul's showstopper in Turkey. So this mosque in Turkey, and they say it's the first great building visible as you approach from the airport, and tourists can go in through a side entrance. Okay, this will be our last page. 147 is the Gion district in Kyoto, Japan, which is pictured here. And it says, they wrote, the mysterious geisha could be forgiven for confining their appearances to best-selling novels, yet you can see them in the streets of Gion, Kyoto's oldest entertainment district. Although touristy, it has an air of tradition. 148 is the Great Buddha Lashan in China. So another iconic Buddha statue. 149 is Actum Tuchanel Mkonal. Definitely said that wrong. In Belize, it's a sacred cave. Let's see what they wrote. They wrote, a 45-minute hike through the tropical jungle brings you to the cave of the Stone Scepter. Donning a headlamp, you'll swim across an icy pool guarding the entrance to the Mayan underground world. Then you'll walk, climb, and crawl past dripping stalactites to the main entrance. Inside lies the calcite-encrusted remains of the maiden whom the chamber is named. Be reverent. This is one of Belize and the Mayans' most sacred spaces. Sounds interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of that before. They say it takes 10 hours and must be done with a licensed guide. 150 is Hadai in Canada. And it is, what is it? It's a place where bears roam and bald eagles soar, where sea lions, whales, and orcas frolic offshore, and where superb old rainforest feeds into some of the world's largest spruce and cedar. So it's an island. It's an island in Canada, they recommend. And then 151 is Barrio of Ribeira in Portugal, a magical medieval waterfront. So that must be pictured here. And it's in Porto, Portugal. And they say it's very romantic and medieval there. Lovely. So this is where we'll end. Thank you for joining me as we flip through another 50 on the list. I'm just going to keep going through these. I think it's kind of a fun little page flip, so hopefully you guys are enjoying these. And if you have any suggestions, let me know. Let me know if you like whispered versus soft spoken. Maybe I'll keep alternating. And I will see you guys in the next one. But also I just wanted to say thank you again to everyone who has subscribed. I cannot believe there's over 100 subscribers. It really is just blowing my mind. So thank you all. It's such a huge vote of confidence. And to everyone who has commented or even just liked my videos, thank you. Thank you. It really is encouraging. So I appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one.